crunch it all up and rub it on the outside of the cheese. Some cheesemakers still do it this way. I think that may also be the reason why some doctors tell people with celiac disorder not to eat blue cheese, because they think that we still rub this bread on the outside. We've now, we're clever enough that we know what this mold is. It's a penicillium, and it's now called the Penicillium roqueforti. And we add that to the milk when we start making the cheese. So it's in there from the beginning, and it's all the way through the cheese. It's not just on the outside, it's all the way through the cheese. So you may have a little piece somewhere on your board that has these straight lines in it. What we do because the blue mold doesn't turn blue until it has oxygen. That's why blue cheeses typically are very loose cheeses, very soft cheeses. And there's pockets of air in there so that the mold can actually form. To help it a little bit, we punch stainless steel pins through it. It's almost like that medieval instrument of torture, where people were just pinched with these massive needles. They do that to the cheese just to aerate it, and so that oxygen can get to the mold and form these really straight lines through the cheese. So that's basically what happened in that. So that's how we think we discovered blue cheese, by accident. It happened in the Auvergne region in France, and to this day, that big chalky mountain is the mountain where you have to age your cheese if you want it to be called Roquefort or Roquefort, as they would say in France. If you age that cheese outside of the caves in that mountain, you can't call it Roquefort. You have to call it whatever, Bleu d'Auvergne or any of the other cheeses from that region. You have to age your cheese in the cave if you want to be called Roquefort. Charlton, have a great night. Bye. He's going to bed.
Good night.
Can you remember when he was that small?
Yeah,
Vaguely.
it seems like alternatively. Hello again.
Bye. Night night. No, they're in the Caribbean. They've just seen the hurricane come through.
Not really.
What are you doing? Oh no. Annalise, no. They know Zoom better than anybody else in this house.
Of course. Yep.
Because they Zoom like I don't know what. I had a visit of 2 customers today, a mother and her son. And her son came to us when we were still in the Trenton Farmers Market. He was 2 years old when he came to the shop. He was already eating cheese, like nice cheese. He's now 16, 6'6", huge guy, and he's still eating a lot of cheese.
Must be
more cheese now than he ever did. So I think cheese helps with people's growth. I think that may be the reason why the Dutch are the tallest nation on earth, because they eat a lot of cheese. You never know.
It helped you.
Yeah. So that was Great Hill Blue. Now we're going to your Point Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
So because you already know it, you know where it's made then, right?
I do not.
Do you know where Point Reyes is?
Just knows it comes from Rudy's shop. That's all.
That's where it's made. Yes. Point Reyes is in California. It's right on the coast, 2 hours north of Los Angeles. That was a surprise to me when I first came to California, that from Los Angeles, you can drive 2 hours and still be in California. I didn't realize that.
You can sometimes drive 2 hours and still be in Los Angeles.
Yeah, oh yeah, you don't drive. you were in a parking lot.
Michael's supposed to go to school in Los Angeles.
Oh, were you?
He's going there virtually from the living room right now, but
that's
he'll
a shame.
go there eventually.
Yeah, LA is the only place where I've been in traffic jams at midnight.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, when I flew in on the red eye, flew back out on the red eye. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. You get into your hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just not good.
And then you leave at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And then have a layover in Las Vegas. Oh my God, not good. So Point Reyes is made in Point Reyes Station. Point Reyes was actually the epicenter of the earthquake, San Francisco earthquake.
Really?
That's where it started. It's right on the coast. So they say you can almost taste the Pacific fog rolling in from the ocean in the cheese. It's a really nice and fresh cheese. I like that. Mm-hmm. Added benefit, they have a Dutch cheesemaker.
There you go.
So it's actually an Italian family with a Dutch cheesemaker. So I don't know how they manage that. I think I'm pretty sure that either third or fourth generation on the farm, and their great grandfather had always had the ambition of making cheese, never got to it. Their grandfather never got to it. Their father never got to it. But the grandfather never got to it. But the father started making cheese, the Giacomi family. And now this, I think there's four siblings that run the place. They all did something else for a while. Stockbroker, I think, real estate. They all said, nah, I want to go back on the farm. So they're all back on the farm, and they're making it a success. So I like the Point Reyes because it's so clean, so fresh. It's a really fresh blue. It's a little bit stronger than from my perspective. It's a little bit stronger than the Great Hill Blue, but it's nice and fresh. It's got a little bit more of that metally kind of flavor profile, but still very nice. Did you try it already?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. The Great Hills reminded me of onion. Yeah,
it's got that kind of background flavor.
Yeah.
See whether this will. Ooh, that's better. One of my favorite blue cheeses is Stilton. That's our next cheese. Stilton is a cheese that's been made for hundreds of years. It has a funny story. When I lived in England, I lived in near Cambridge, and sometimes we would go on little hikes and tours, and one of the tours took us to the little town of Stilton. This was before I was into cheese, and we had a cup of coffee at the Bell Inn, which still exists in Stilton. And much later, I discover the whole story about Stilton. It's kind of a funny story. Stilton was a staging place for the horse-drawn coaches from London